Hi guys, it's Rockheart and you're watching another movie of the week, and basically this is like a book club, but it's a movie club where every week we have a new movie and I talk about it here, and then you guys can comment about it and I'll respond to your comments, and at the end of every video I say the movie of next week. And if you didn't know, the movie for this week was 12 Angry Men from 1957, so if you haven't watched it, watch it now because of spoilers. Now I first would like to say that I was saying that to my mom, my brother, like for movie of the week this week was 12 Angry Men, and my brother, he's like a really big film person too, even though he didn't go to film school. He like is maybe more obsessed with movies than me. He watches like 30 movies a week, I don't even know, but he was like 12 Angry Men is like the greatest film of all time. He stated that he thinks it's the greatest film of all time. He doesn't think it's like the greatest movie of all time because of terms of like cinematography and every aspect, but he thinks like the script was the greatest script of any time. And he thinks the film is the greatest film written of every time. I don't know if I exactly agree with that. I think it's definitely up there, and but it's hard to determine like the greatest film of all time, I think. And I just think in the end it's one of the greatest, not the greatest, maybe. So what I love about this film is it really takes place in one location, and I'm one of those people that are weird, or I don't even know if it's weird, but I kind of like films that really take place in one location and it's just there in the moment. Like I was talking about this in my first week Clue, like it's in that house. Like yes, there's different rooms in the house, but it's still in that one location. And this is pretty much just in that room they were in. Like at the beginning, you do see them a little bit in court, but I also like that they didn't really, like in court, you know, they didn't go over any of the details of the case. You really just go in knowing there's these 12 men, they don't know who each other's are, and as they talk, you get elements of the case. I just realized I didn't put on my ring, so I'm gonna put on my ring because I'm one of those people with like jewelry where it's like I wear it like every day and I like to wear the same thing. So with my necklaces, I wear these two necklaces, which I never take off, but for the ring I take off for like sleeping and showering, whatever else. I always wear these. I don't take these off. I do change my earrings ever so often for like a certain event, but when I come home I always change back to these earrings and I sleep in these and shower in these. This is going off topic. What was I saying? So yeah, you get like little moments of the case by how they're talking, and I think it's just a story about how, you know, they had to be unanimous, they had to all agree, and how 11 men saw this person's guilty, and then there was one person who wasn't exactly like 100% sure not guilty, but he like was like, we're like, this guy is getting the death penalty, like we need to talk about it, we need to discuss it, like at least give him that favor. And I think there's always like, it's always good to have that one person, and then, you know, you see over time how he convinces people, and just over time more and more people start, it's like reasonable doubt. And I think that's really important. It's like, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, when you're in this, I don't know, I've never been on a jury, but for some reason it's like really like, if you're gonna convict someone as guilty, you have to be 100% certain. You can't have any reasonable doubt, especially like if it's the death penalty. And I think it was just great to see, like, and I think that's what's amazing, that over time more and more people just like said not guilty because they just don't want to convict him. And that's why I think it's really important when after a little bit of convincing and it doesn't seem like anyone's convinced, he's like, okay, we'll take a vote, I'll like not be in this vote, and you know, if all 11 of you say guilty, you know, I won't let it go. I mean I will let it go, but if, you know, you any bit of reason out. And the old guy, who seemed like a little bit hesitant the first time that they were stating their claims, finally was like not guilty. And it was great that like at the end he brought up this whole eye thing. And I think also this film at the time, it was the 50s, and I think, you know, there was still, I think this film also was like slightly political, and they talked about differences with economical wealth, and just kind of like also not exactly attacked, but like brought up like the problems with the jury system, especially like the DA like that was given to the defendant, I think the person that they're trying to give a verdict to, he didn't really ask these questions. And so it was good that like in the end, like, or there was someone in the room, that in the jury room, who wanted to ask these questions. And like, because a lot of the evidence he was able to pinpoint, like, yes, but it's not concrete. And it just was amazing to see over time how people, you know, switched over. I would like to add that like over the script, you know, various elements, someone would add something about this, like, oh, well, I actually grew up in the slum or whatever. And then that guy who was like part of an agency, at little moments they add little things, but then still in the end, like, you don't really get anyone's name. There's still, if you look up the cast, like it says jury number, I think at the end two people introduce themselves, but like pretty much like it's just, it's a little elements, but it's not too much, and I think it was done correctly. And then I also like, because, you know, it does take place in a room, you know, a lot of times like sitting, you see them moving around a lot. You see them, you know, smoking or adjusting their hair, or coughing. There was like so much coughing. You're like, get a cough drop, which is why I think they kept getting cough drops. But it was the movement. They just kept them moving, and I think that was really important. And that's why sometimes, you know, you see nowadays like people do like theater of 12 Angry Men, because it does feel a little bit more theater-like. I think it was really great. Like, I think it's a really shocking moment when they bring out the evidence of the switchblade, I would say, and then they're like, this is a unique switchblade, and then he takes out, and he actually himself did like research and be like, this is not just a unique switchblade, I was able to buy the exact one. And it's a very shocking, and I think it's just great that, like, I don't know, the evidence it's just one of those films where you can't look away. Because I have to be honest, like, once in a while, like when I'm watching a movie or TV show, I just like check my phone. And I tried to do that a couple times with this, and then I'd be like missing something, even though I've seen this film before. And so it's one of those films you really can't look away. You're like engaged. You have to be, because it's like a mystery movie where like every thing that someone says, every point of dialogue, it can add something. So it's important to not look away. I think at the end, there is some cinematography to this. Yes, it's all in one room. Yes, it's 50s. But in the end, when they're all realized not guilty, you know, there's just moments where, like, I think, like, the placing or the blocking, as they say, of different characters just made it more cinematic. But it's just a very engaging film, which is why I wanted this film to have this as movie of the week, because it's one of those must-watch movies I feel like everyone should see, just because of how great it was and how much, like, I feel like even though it was in the 50s, it was way ahead of its time, which nowadays you watch this movie, it's like, this is not way ahead of its time, but like for the 50s, I feel like it was. And yeah, and then it's really great at the end, the last scene, they're all just kind of going in their own directions, because that's kind of interesting of the story. It's like these people that come together for this jury, you know, spend all this time in one room together with each other and then just go on with their lives. And I think that's like an interesting element to add. I'm trying to think about what else to say. I feel like a lot of the movies I pick, I'm like, it's just an enjoyable, good film, and that's the reason why. So yeah, comment below your thoughts and feelings if you agree or disagree. And I will say the movie for the next week, we're finally going in the 21st century. It is Gone Girl from 2014. So finally, first movie of the week in the 21st century. So make sure you watch Gone Girl for next week's video to prepare. And make sure you comment all your thoughts and feelings about 12 Angry Men here, and watch Gone Girl and whatever else I'm going to say. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.